Hey guys, welcome back to the Sniper Chronicles. Today we're coming back at you with another Ratchet video. Okay, this time we have a, maybe you guys can recognize this. It's not what it's obviously looks like. This is a Klein Ratchet, and from this handle, I think many of you will recognize this as a right ratchet, which is who made this ratchet for Klein tools. But before we jump into it, a little bit of YouTube business. I'm trying to raise my subscribers to 2,000 subscribers. Well, I don't think I'm gonna make it by the end of June, but hopefully by this summer. I would like to have 2,000, and the only way I can get there is if you give me the HBO special. I know, the HBO special. What is it? It's the Help a Brother Out special. So help a brother out right now. Hit the subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll give you 2 seconds to do that. Okay, you guys that subscribed and liked, I really appreciate it. Okay, this is, like I said, it's a right ratchet that was made for Klein. There were several, or at least one that I can think of off the top of my head. SK also made ratchets for Klein, so I guess they had different manufacturers for their ratchets. I think also Stanley might have made ratchets for Klein, because if memory serves, I think I did see like a Stanley style, like Taiwan, one of those Stanley Taiwan type ratchets with the thumb wheel that was also a Klein. I could be wrong, but I think that they also made a ratchet for Klein. This is a 3/8 drive, USA patent. There goes the patent, and if you look that up, I'm sure you're gonna find it's a right patent. Has this kind of plastic handle cover there. These I think have been made since at least the 60s. These pattern, I think some people call these Tootsie Roll patterns. From what I've seen, they kind of held up pretty well for being old, from coming from the 60s, 70s, and whatnot. You know, you can see a little bit of crackling there, but I've seen a lot of these in one piece, so it's not the worst sort of handle. I guess it has lasted, I guess, a few decades at least. And did I mention this is the 65170 model number? But let's take a look inside, and that's where it becomes obvious as to who made this ratchet. It's the coil ring, pretty standard for a round head ratchet. And we take it out. This one hasn't seen much use. The handle looks a little bit worn, but that's probably just from age. But the teeth and the head here don't look like they've been used much. They look pretty new from what I can tell. I don't see much wear there. There's a little wear around the edge there on the chrome. I think some of it probably oxidized off. There is a little cutout on the switch side here, but it's pretty flat on this side, except for maybe a slight, really slight cutout, maybe a fraction of a millimeter there on that side. Just from the top of my head, just looking at this, I don't know, looks kind of thin to me. Like, I've seen other round heads, you know, that are pretty thick walled around the broaching part, and as it relates to the outside. This one seems a little thin. I don't know. Right usually has a decent reputation. I don't think there's a lot of catastrophic failures with these. I haven't heard of any, but I could be wrong. They seem to make a decent product. Okay, here is the mechanism, and here's where it becomes apparent that this is right. Okay, what I do is let me get a magnet, because I'm gonna need one in a second. I just press down whatever side of the pawl is up, and that way I depress the plunger, and then I can hopefully get this mechanism out. Doesn't seem to want to cooperate this time. Let me get a bigger magnet. Okay, there we go. You can get your nail and shimmy it out. Remember, there is a plunger and a spring, and they're under tension, and they probably want to fly out. But you just shimmy it out and cover as best you can, and there you go. Okay, this is why I'm not the greatest fan of Right. They bored the hole straight through the switch, which makes it hard, because usually on the switch is usually bored just the hole on one side, usually through the top like that, and the spring sits on the bottom and the plunger on top. This makes it a lot harder to get back in, because you have to squeeze both ends. Both the spring and the plunger have to be compressed to get it back into the hole. So it makes it a pretty good deal harder. And what winds up happening if you don't do it really good, the spring suffers. You start kinking the spring, because it'll get caught on the bottom when you're trying to press them both in. Okay, here's the plunger. The plunger has like a pointy tip. See, see if you see it there. You see it has like a pointy tip on it, and it's hollow, and the spring is inside of it. A good thing that they did, some of this oil. Good thing that they did, they added this little piece here, which keeps it from rotating all the way towards one side. That way it saves the plunger, because you know, on a lot of plungers that don't have a safe keep like that, they're damaged because they hit the sides of the mechanism, and it cuts a groove into them. This one goes in one way. It goes in, if you notice, there's a little piece missing at the bottom, and it's full. The piece that's sticking out is full on the top, and has a little chunk there on the bottom that's missing. And that's so it can only go in one way. The top, where it's full, it goes towards the pawl, and see how it blocks you from going all the way over. And if you put it in wrong, you put it in with the little missing piece sticking up, it's not going to go in all the way, and you have to turn it all the way around, and then it clicks to where it's supposed to be flush there. Alright, so we looked at that. And the other problem I have with Right is that this pin is not coming out. And I think I had someone in the comment recently mention that that they have the same problem, and they couldn't figure why the pins are not coming out until they saw my video, and they saw that this is a manufacturing decision that Wright made to press in the pawl pins, and they do not come out. And believe me, I've spent a good amount of time trying to get those pins out, and they will not come out. So don't waste your time. Don't get frustrated. Just leave it like that. It's not coming out. So, but the pawl is a 3-tooth paw on each side, and you can see this paw is pretty, the teeth are pretty sharp, so I don't see anywhere on the paw. That's why I'm thinking that this Ratchet is pretty new, or didn't see much action, as it were. And here is the ball detent. Kind of soft, not as hard as most. It's a little spongy. And there's a look at the mechanism as best we can, because we can't take the paw off. And to get this back together is another fun part, because like I said before, you're gonna have to take something, maybe a needle nose plier, and remember the plunger goes on, the plunger side goes on the side where the piece extends all the way up, like that. And if you don't have to take this apart, don't take it apart. You're gonna get frustrated, because that spring, see how it sticks out there? So you have to compress not only the top, but you have to compress the bottom, and it's a pain in the butt. And the spring always gets caught up and kinked. So I'm gonna try, but I might not be able to do this on camera. So, yep, see how the spring at the bottom there gets caught? That's a problem usually, and now I just stuck all the way back out. See? So let me try again. Let me do this off camera, because it's gonna take a couple of minutes and I don't want to waste time. But be patient if you take these apart. Try not to get that spring, try not to jam the switch in when there's a little leeway, because usually the last rung of the spring is going to get caught at the bottom, and be careful with that, so as to not ruin the little spring. You're not going to find many springs that size. So let me cut away, and then I'll come back when I press it back in. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I was able, after a few tries, I was able to get the spring and plunger in, and it's working the way it should. Now you just take it, drop it in with the switch on the name side or the company side, and you might want to, if it gets stuck like that, maybe you have to put your finger in a little bit and press the pawl down to get it to slide in. You take your coil ring and you get it started, and you mash it around the edge, and there you go. See if it switches. Yep, it's switching. So there you go. This is the Klein made by Wright Ratchet, the 65170, and Wright made ratchets for a lot of different companies. You see them. Here's an identical or almost identical Powercraft ratchet that they made. Who was Powercraft? Was it Montgomery Ward or something like that? I forgot. what store carried Powercraft. But pretty identical, except for, like I said, the switch there. But the handles, you can see, is the signature that you can't miss on these. I think they were the only ones, if I'm correct, they're the only ones that make a handle like that. So if you see it, you know it's right. Alright guys, that's all I got for now. Until next time.